Hi there, fellow pickers. My name is Mike Craft, and I'm coming to you from the Redwoods of Northern California.
And my name is Carl Mandrilli, coming to you from Castle Rock, Colorado. How's it going, buddy?
It's going pretty good, man. Hey, we were on the phone the other day, and you had to stop the conversation to go cover up your truck. What was that about?
Oh, you want to talk about weather again, is what you're saying. Weather.
Just tell me what that was about. What was it? It's July. You had to go cover your truck.
Yeah, because we've had hail, I don't know, 10 times or more, like significant hail this summer. And so I just kind of threw some blankets on. I don't know. I've just got so much junk kind of related to the reselling thing. I've got so much junk in the garage. I can't drive the truck into the garage. We have a small garage anyway. It's not that would be convenient as it is, but yeah. Was that interesting to you, or were you concerned about me, or what's going on?
I was concerned that you have hail large enough that you have to go cover your vehicle.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I did want to preface the point that why I talk about the weather every time, or why I ask about the weather every time we talk, because it's always something crazy with you. It's funny.
Well, this summer especially, yeah, for sure. Exactly. Full disclosure, I do wear my bike helmet when I go cover my truck.
Do you really?
I do, and it's helpful because because some of that hail can hurt. So
Golly,
I mean, we get hail here. We haven't had it this summer, but literally like over the next hillside, they've had hail that dings the vehicle. Some can be so strong it'll like smash the windshield.
Yeah.
So it's just you just got to be careful with it, and yeah, it's just how it goes, man. Just part of the deal. So
I've seen some of those videos, so I'm glad to know that you wear a helmet. Speaking of heads, look at that new Pickers podcast hat you got going on.
For those that are watching on YouTube, thank you for being on YouTube. Yeah, Mike made this and just recently gave this to me. Pretty sharp and yeah, pretty cool. I like it.
Absolutely. It does look good. They turned out really nice. So if any of you want one of these hats, you got to let us know. You got to drop it in the comments. Let us know that there's interest, and then we can get some merch made up for you guys if you're interested.
That's nice of you. Okay. Well,
looking good. All right.
Good deal. We got a story today. This is like
an awesome story.
An awesome story. So the working title right now that I've got is How a Beginner Reseller Made a Massive Purchase. And when I say massive, I mean like not only, spending some cash, but just getting a lot.
Yes.
And so I think we want to know if you think it's worth it or not. Is this worth the risk? I have my opinion. You obviously have your opinion. We're going to go through this. So You ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right. Okay. So let's just start from the basics here. Who is the beginner reseller that we're talking about?
Well, between the two of us, I think that would be me. I am the beginner reseller that is in this story.
Okay, you're the protagonist of the story here. Hopefully not the antagonist.
Yeah.
You're the beginner reseller, and you are considering or possibly have already made a massive purchase, and so we are here to simply judge it. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I'd love any advice that you guys would have too, because it was a big decision.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get through this. All right. So tell us the story of like how you got the lead for, even knowing that this like inventory was available, and like what is it that you think you're buying? So kind of take us through this.
Right. So the way it worked out for those of you listening on the podcast or listening on the audio apps, Carl's wearing a Backpacking and Blisters t-shirt. So we were backpacking in Canada recently together. And I walked up on him and another friend of ours saying the word Tupperware, and my ears perked up right away because you guys know how much I love selling Tupperware.
Right.
So when I walked up to you guys, I don't really know how you guys started in on the conversation, but when I walked up, you said Mike loves to sell Tupperware. And that's basically where the conversation started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any more to it than that? Before
I kind of have my own version of the story in my head. I didn't realize this is the first time we talked about this. I thought we'd had a conversation beforehand, but no. Yeah, let's just go with it. Okay, so you heard Tupperware, you heard us talking about it, and then what happened next?
And you said Mike loves to sell Tupperware, and then we started talking about reselling, and then I walked up and you guys talking about the Tupperware, and we were talking to this mutual friend that we have, and he was saying that his father-in-law has a storage unit full of vintage Tupperware.
Right. A storage unit full of it that's just been sitting there literally for years, and he doesn't know what to do with it, right?
He doesn't know what to do with it, and it's all brand new, still in the box, and
Right.
it's a storage unit full.
New old stock, they call it. So, and it's just sitting
Yes.
there. And I think his wife is like, let's get rid of this stuff. Let's donate it. We don't, and then he's like, no, but it's valuable.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So what are you thinking? You hear the story. What are you thinking at this point?
Well, I'm seeing a great video on our hands. The fact that I love to resell Tupperware on our show, so it was so much, and then how to handle such a large amount. Do I have the storage for it? All these different questions were going through my head,
So
but I needed to.
so you weren't thinking, should I buy this?
Oh, I wanted to buy it right away. I wanted to tell
Okay.
them yes, no
Just
matter
making
what the
sure.
price was or however much it was. Vintage Tupperware, sealed, brand new in the box.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, I'm all
Okay.
over it.
Right. And so so you got this potential lead. And so the lead was just kind of like, basically like, it sounds just like you eavesdropping on a conversation here. It was just how you got the lead. And then now you're interested in like, how do I get all this stuff from this guy that you don't know? And you're still
Yeah.
relatively new friends with my buddy. His name's Knowlton.
Mhm.
So, right? Are we telling this correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Okay. So then you had a later conversation with him, and it sounds like you wanted to go to like the next level. So what did that conversation sound like where you're like, hey, how do I get this Tupperware into my hands?
Yeah. So after we got off of the trail, we didn't really talk about it much anymore on the trail, but after we got off on the car ride home, I was picking his brain a little bit more. And by the way, I should tell you, I'm a little surprised that our friends don't even know that we have a reselling podcast. He was questioning me about that. It's like, I had no
Oh,
idea. And
wait.
he subscribed to it right in front of me too. He looked it up and subscribed to it.
Okay. Well, that this is going to take us down a rabbit hole of what does friendship mean to you, Mike? Because our buddy Knowlton he doesn't live stateside, and so I had literally never talked to him until he's on the backpacking
Gotcha.
trip, and he comes back stateside every couple of years. He's a missionary abroad, and so
Mm.
he's all in on that. So I don't ever talk to, like, to be honest, I don't talk to a lot of these guys unless we're on the backpacking trip.
Just
So
once a year.
yeah,
No,
it's bad for sure.
that was a lot of fun though, because he was asking me questions and he was telling me about his father-in-law had this and he needs to get rid of it. He's been holding on to it for 20 years, holding on to all this
You're right,
Tupperware.
right. So it's like
And so,
isn't it like 1980s stuff? I thought.
yeah, it's 1980s stuff.
Okay.
So he's like, my father-in-law was just going to trash it. And I said, no, he said, there's probably some money in that. And I'm like, heck yeah, there's a lot of money in vintage Tupperware. That's brand new, sealed in the box.
Right.
So,
Right. So okay. So you're
so
talking
we,
that through. Behind the scenes, I didn't know how interested you were because this is like, I know you're interested, but the actual process of obtaining it, making the offer, which we'll talk about here in a moment, I knew this was going to be a massive effort.
Mhm.
And so I just told my buddy Nilton, I said, hey, if Mike isn't interested in this, I can help you solve your problem. I'll come out and I'll take this off your hands. So I was kind of the backup. And then I don't know if he like conveyed that to you and that like little fire under you, like, oh yeah, well, if I'm not gonna let Carl take it, I'm gonna take it.
No, I think you're the one that told me that you were interested to
Yeah,
not worry about it because I was obviously we're pretty good friends, so I was going back and forth with you like what do you think? What does
right,
this look like? Is there storage? What kind of a price? All this
right,
different
right,
stuff
right,
that I had to run by you and see what we're
right.
talking about. And yeah, all those things came in mind, man.
Okay.
How do you store that much Tupperware? We'll talk about how much Tupperware it actually was a little bit later.
Yeah.
But do I have the space? Do I have the money? Do I have the means to go down and get it? Just
All that stuff.
all these different logistics that you go
Right.
from. I go from 200 listings on my eBay store. Now I've got however many I'm going to have, and it's my inventory is going to double. The cost of everything is going to be way up there. So it's like,
Your inventory is not gonna double. It's gonna be like, go tenfold, right? It's massive.
yeah, it is. It is
Yeah.
massive.
So this
I
is a
mean,
big
it's
deal, especially for newer resellers. This is why this is so
mhm.
interesting.
It was definitely the episode where I had to level, or it was an instance where I had to level up. I was about to level up, and it was either take the deal or pass it up and then regret it for the rest of my life or my
Right.
rest of my reselling career.
But you could
So,
regret it either way. You could regret passing it up. It's like the what if, or you could actually
mhm,
go and do, the full effort and regret it because you end up losing a lot of time and money on it. So
I could. I
So,
could,
okay. So next question is like, how did you take us through the process? Like, how did you know this is worth your time and money? How did you figure this out?
well, first off, I've been selling Tupperware ever since I started my business. So I knew Tupperware is golden, right? It's the first thing I look for at any estate sale, yard sale, whatever. Even we went to a Goodwill in Sacramento yesterday, and my first thought was, where's the Tupperware? Looking for the Tupperware. So I know the comps, I know how well it's selling, I know what to look for,
Okay.
know to see if it's damaged, if it's good condition, bad condition, what sold, what hasn't sold. So I already knew this stuff was gold if I
Okay.
could get it for the right price, right? Obviously, if I paid $5 or $15 a piece for all this stuff, it's not going to be worth my time
Right.
whatsoever. So
It's all about the pricing on this. So you're pretty confident and you knew, I mean, like we're just talking about this. You don't really know what this guy has. So how did you find out really like what his inventory was?
yeah, exactly. And to be honest with you, well, I don't know if you want to share this now, but be honest with you, I still don't know what the inventory actually looks like. I'm going off of what he sent me a few pictures, so probably 15 pictures of different
Okay.
boxes. And I was looking some of it up and just looking through a lot of it. And to be honest, some of it's going to go in a lot. There are lids and stuff like that that probably won't go for as much as I paid for it.
Right.
But I'm willing to take that risk, right? So if out of X number of pieces, I only make a huge profit on a few of them, then it's gonna cover all the costs. But what was really going through my mind this whole time is I'm trying to build the Pickers podcast brand, right? And on video and everything else, this is gonna make some very good storytelling. Some great videos, some great shorts. We're going to be talking about this for a long time because we're going to have Tupperware updates consistently on the show now. How am I doing with it?
Okay.
So
So you're saying you had to make a decision about whether to buy this or not based on 15 pictures.
15 pictures.
Okay.
And he did send me an inventory list.
Okay.
And but to be honest with you, I don't know when this inventory list was created. If it was created back in the
Right.
80s, is it
Okay.
20 years old? Are some of those pieces missing now? Are they still good? What am I going to get with this?
Okay.
So, but the only thing that I do know is I trust Knowlton, and I don't think I would do this sight unseen off of like a Instagram message or something like that.
Yeah.
I would definitely have to look at it, and I'm still going to look at it. I'm I'm pretty much committed at this point, but I'm still going to look at it, and if there's two boxes instead of however many boxes he said that there was, I'm probably gonna have to have a talk with him and be like, look, I can't pay for what you want just off of two boxes. It's just
Right.
it's unfeasible.
Right.
And the whole conversation, Knowlton was very agreeable. I don't want to offend you, Knowlton, but I am a reseller. I need to make money on this. And
You're not gonna offend
now
him. He's just the middleman, right? Like
I know,
yeah, he doesn't care. He just wants the boxes out. He's trying to solve a problem with his father-in-law, who's essentially hoarded boxes of Tupperware. It's sat there for years. They're paying the fees on the storage unit. He's just simply trying to
yeah.
solve a problem, clear up space. So he's being the good guy, the good middleman, so to speak.
Yeah, I just always want to bring that up front though. It's like, look, I don't want to offend you, but I have to make money. So I'm probably going to lowball you, give you a lowball offer.
Right.
And he's like, no problem. And we were going back and forth. I was like, do I want to do at first he was interested in me selling it in my store for him. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of inventory. That's going to take years, possibly years
Right.
to sell through. So I was doing the calculations. I was like, do I want to factor in 80% profit on whatever the sales are? And then we're going back and forth with like sales tax. How's that going to work? I'm going to have to keep my inventory separate. There's going to be so many things, logistics that I'm going to have to look at. And so, and then I started coming up with what about just outright buying it,
Yeah.
for a set
For a
price.
lump sum.
Yeah. So then I had to start thinking about that. And I'm like, so what would I actually want to pay for this? What do I pay for it? And I was having
Yeah.
these conversations with Jen. Obviously, we're a team in this thing together. She's going to be listening it all. So
Right.
I needed to get her input on it.
Okay.
And so we finally came up with the price. And I
But
him
also,
hawed.
just let me cut you off right there because also one thing you didn't mention in terms of factoring the price is the fact that this is not close to where you live. Like you've got to travel the
Yes.
length of California, pick it up. like physically move it out of garage and out of storage unit,
Mhm.
have the means to move it, whether that's, renting a one-way U-Haul or something along those lines, and then drive it all the way back home. So that's not going to just cost the money, the gas, the rental, all that stuff. It's going to cost a lot of time as well.
Yeah,
Correct?
absolutely. It is. And doing some of those numbers, man, they don't look good either. It's
Right. So yeah. So how much you think that it's going to cost you to just like physically move it to your place?
so, yeah, looking at those U-Haul rentals, it's either a trailer or a box truck and it's one way, or if it's round trip, there's so many different factors I still need to do some of the logistics on. And it's, do I fly down there and get a trailer, rent a trailer down there? But what I've come up with is I have a friend that has a trailer, so I think I'm just going to borrow his trailer and I'm going to go down there and pick it up, and then that'll save me the cost on the trailer fees. Then I'll just
Okay.
have to pay gas in. I'm going to use hotel points for a
Okay.
hotel when I go down there, so that's not going to cost me anything. So I've got a few
It-
things where I'm saving money on it, but I
Okay.
think I think it's going to be good. I think I've got it worked out logistically
People
so
want
far.
numbers, man. Give us a number. How much is it going to cost? Ballpark.
It's probably going to cost me about 500 to 750 to get this
Okay.
Tupperware,
So
at
significant
least.
amount. And to
Yeah.
be honest, like when you talk about bringing a trailer down there, you've seen more than I have, but the way he's described it, I don't know what kind of trailer you have, but to me, it doesn't seem like a trailer would cut it. It seems like you would need a full-on U-Haul, like almost like like a moving U-Haul, not the biggest ones or anything like that.
Mhm.
But to me, in my mind, what I'm envisioning when I think of a full storage unit, I think of it like it's not just that, but a garage full of stuff. I think you need
Mhm.
more than just a little trailer.
Yeah, he did give me some. I did ask him for some sizes, and he said it's one of the smaller storage units. It's only about halfway full, and
Okay.
it's up as tall as he is, so a stacked 6 feet tall. So,
Okay.
so
Sounds
I
like you
think
know
I
more.
still. What's that?
Sounds like you know more then.
Yeah, yeah. So it looks like I can still get away with the trailer and a tarp, and I'm gonna bring a whole bunch of packing tape. I thought about bringing extra boxes just in case there were some loose ones floating
Mhm.
around. But I think I could tape it up real good and then put a tarp over it and tie it down really good, and that
Okay.
trailer will get away with it.
Nice, man. All right. So this is what we want to
Yep.
know. Okay. So we know that you're going to spend 500 to 750 to actually move it, but you've got
Mm-hmm.
to purchase the Tupperware outright. And so you didn't offer him a percentage. You offered him a lump sum.
Yep.
How much are you paying for this, Mike?
Yeah. So that kind of went back and forth, and I actually told him I think I'm gonna pass on this, and he texted me back probably, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes later, and he goes, I think my father-in-law would take any offer that you threw at him. And so,
Okay.
and
Wow.
yeah, I know exactly. And so we had come up with a price for about $2 a piece, $2 per piece, which
Okay.
comes out to about $1,000. So we said, okay, how about $1,000? He texted back right away and said sold. So he took my
Wait, if he
offer for
texted
a
back right
thousand.
away, did you pay too much?
I don't know. I
Okay.
questioned that too, but I tried to block that out of my mind because I don't want to think about that. It's just gonna be
Yeah.
another
When
thing in
somebody
my
says
head.
sold right away, then you're like, I
Well,
could have gotten a better
yeah,
deal. But maybe it wasn't that much better of a deal. And you also want to be fair to the person as well. So there's a
right.
couple things going on there.
And
Okay.
that's not exactly the way conversation went. It might have been 5 minutes, and he said, "Yeah, my father-in-law said that's good."
Okay, fair enough.
But
All right.
either way,
So what's
I
that?
bought $1,000 worth of Tupperware, man, brand new vintage,
$1,000. Well, yeah. Yeah. But
1980.
yeah, I'm excited to see this stuff for sure. So finish this sentence. This purchase and effort it will take to move and store the product will be worth it if
So it'll be worth it if I find it'd be worth it if there's five of the items that are on the list that he sent over to me are actually there. It will
five
absolutely be
specific
worth it.
ones.
It's five specific ones that I've already
Okay.
looked up and were just gold,
Okay.
like literally Tupperware gold.
All right. Okay, fair enough. So, and those just ballpark, those five, they're there. You sell them all. How much are you making off those five?
I'm making my money back easily.
$1,000?
Probably about 1250 to 15. Yeah,
Okay.
for
So
sure.
not quite your money back because you still got to consider travel costs. But
Yeah,
that means you're going to have a
exactly.
whole lot of stuff to sell, which will essentially be just, where your profit is.
Yeah, according to the list, there are 500 pieces of Tupperware on that list that I'm picking up. So
Yeah.
I don't
And
know
if
if it's
there's
all going to
not,
be
you can
there.
renegotiate, right?
Yeah, that's the possibility. Absolutely.
Okay.
Because I definitely don't want to give him $1,000 for just 2 or 3 boxes, right? If there's
Well,
not
it's not gonna
actually
be
enough
that.
there.
He's already sent pictures. He's not trying
Yeah.
to mess you over. So
No, he's not. No,
yeah.
I trust him 100%.
Right.
But
Okay.
it's, eh, well, it's scary. It's scary to even think about this. I'm a new reseller, man. I don't know. What do
No,
you think?
to be honest, for me, the scariest part is not the purchase. It's not the pickup. For me, if I was the guy that ended up doing this, it would be the storage and the
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming feeling of having to sell through this incrementally. So
Mm-hmm.
just for my own sanity, I might even just get like a really small storage unit and just throw it all in there. That way my family doesn't have to see it. I'm going to be losing a little bit of money out the gate, but that'll motivate me to sell it fast and maybe try to sell it even within as fast as like a month time. That way I'm only paying like a month's worth of storage. So that's my thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
My employee that lists for me said that I cannot buy anything new until she gets 90% of it listed, and then I
Yeah.
can start buying more inventory.
Which is
Which,
reasonable, but as a reseller, you
right.
don't want to pass up on really good deals if you have the opportunity.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
saying.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I'm really excited though. This is my Amazon return palette that we've been talking about forever. This is my mother lode. This is my golden goose. This is
Yeah.
when he said Tupperware and how much Tupperware and then it's vintage Tupperware. I mean, I got chill. Literally got chills thinking about the idea of
Right.
this cell,
Right.
man. It was crazy.
Okay. And I like this story. It's very interesting to me, and I'm excited to find out, how the transition process
Yeah.
goes, how the actual purchase goes, what it's like for you to
Mhm.
really look at it in person. But how can your experience apply to everyone else out there?
That's a good question because I think everybody out there wants to find the mother lode, and a lot of people see good deals. I mean, look at the auctions at the storage units. Some people pay a lot of money and then they end up with a flop. So
Mm,
I had to consider that. And I really had to, being a new reseller, I had to look at it, see if I could handle it. If I could handle this plus a 9 to 5 job on top of this and the storage and the logistics and figuring it all out. And it was daunting. It was really scary, but I had to have confidence in myself that I did the research. I know the product. I have the money. I have the space to do it. And I had to pull the trigger. I had
okay.
to,
Yeah. All right.
right? And so,
That didn't answer
yeah.
the question at all, but I appreciate your reflection right there.
Well, it does answer the question because if you're a new reseller out there and you come up on a mother load, but you're scared, if you're just letting fear just not letting you buy this stuff, have the courage to have the conversation with yourself, to look it up and look at what you're
Mm,
buying and see if you're going to do it or not. And then
yeah.
also have the wherewithal though to pass it up if it's not as good of a deal as you think
Right,
it's
right,
going
right,
to be.
right. I think that's step 2. I think you're jumping ahead a little bit because I think the step
Oh,
1 is that people wanna figure out how to find that, right? Because what you found, I personally haven't found, or I shouldn't say I haven't found, I haven't had access to. And so
okay.
people wanna know, how do I have access to? Is there anything that we can pull from Mike's story here that we can replicate in our own lives? And I think that possibly, because here's the deal, is who Mike's interacting with is not a hoarder, but
Hmm.
they're not somebody who's like, I don't know, who has everything, kinda all their ducks in a row in their life, right? They're kinda in between. They're not
Hmm.
like saving pizza boxes. They're not climbing over stacks of newspapers to get to the bathroom. It's not that bad. They just happen to have extra stuff, and they've had it for years. They don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Perhaps somebody in your life or people you know's lives have that sort of situation with items that are potentially valuable. So making it known to your friends and family that you're a reseller, like that might gain you access to things. It might not, but it might gain you access to
Hmm.
things. And then I would go to what Mike was saying. Then is this worth pulling the trigger? Should we help this person out, clear out their stuff? It's almost like a 1-800 got junk scenario where you're helping to clean
Hmm.
out their stuff for free or for a very low price. You're solving a problem, but you're also able to make a lot of money on that. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I've often thought about that. And, the premise of our show is kind of off the American pickers, right? Finding the barn finds.
Yeah.
I happen to walk into this conversation literally and
Right.
walked into this thing, the motherload. But think how many people are out there that if you look at their barn and they're like, or you see inside their garage and you see a stack of boxes or something like that. And you're like,
Right.
just go knock on their door and be like, hey, what are you doing with all that stuff?
Yeah. And to
Yeah,
be honest,
there's,
like I have a neighbor that's that way. She might be a straight up hoarder actually. We used to be allowed in her house, like to watch her cats when she was away, and now we're not
mhm,
allowed in there anymore. I think she's a hoarder. I don't think she really has valuable stuff in there. I think she's got like piles of books. I
mhm,
think she buys up things that are on sale. Like, ooh, Tide is on sale this week. I'm gonna buy 20 of them. You know, it's like one of those types of
mhm,
situations. So when she moves or whatever, like I might have access to that. But to be honest,
mhm,
for me personally, I'm curious to hear from everybody else out there. I've actually found it hard to get access because my wife's grandmother passed away a few years ago. And so they had to go through her house. They had to, dig through all her stuff, dig through her attic. They had to pull
mhm,
things out. What's valuable? What's not? Where do we sell it? Should we donate it? This and that. And I was
mhm,
like, hey, everybody, I have experience with this.
uh-huh.
And it's in California, so it's out of state for me. And they're like, it's okay, Carl, we got it. I was like, okay. Like, really? I'm willing to come out there. I'm willing to, like, I don't even want to keep the money. Like, I'm willing to do this to kind of like help out
Oh
the
yeah.
family. That way you're not getting
Yeah.
screwed on your other stuff, but you're actually getting
Mhm.
the appropriate amount of money. And but it's not my grandma though, so I'm not trying to force myself in the situation. And they're like, no, 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 it's okay. We got this covered. I was
Wow.
blown away. I was like, this is a skill that I actually have that I can help out the family. And
Yeah.
I just got shut down.
Wow.
Yeah. And so yeah, then we have my buddy Knowlton. His grandpa and grandma passed away, and they had a similar situation, but times 10. So you're talking about the Tupperware. They had like garages full of like Model T Ford gear or like just
Whoa.
antiques, like legit stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
Knowlton, invite me out there. I will help you go through this. It was a massive
Yeah.
job that he and his brother did. And not interested. So they ended up taking what they thought was valuable, and they put it into like one of those storage containers that's stored
Yeah.
on Knowlton's brother's property. So
Uh-huh.
now it's just they simply just shifted it around. They're not really reselling it, and it's
Uh-huh.
just yeah, continuing to rust. So I don't know. It's like maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm coming on too strong. I don't know, but it yeah, I found it hard to get access to that stuff. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I don't know either. I'm new to this stuff, but that sounds like we'd have a conversation with Knowlton again, Knowlton and his brother, and say, hey, look, why don't you let the two of us try to figure this out for you and see if you can get it off your property? But
Yeah.
that's like, man, love the idea of finding barn finds and things like
Mhm.
that nobody's thinking about. And it breaks my heart when I think about the people that have passed away and their families gone through their stuff and just thrown everything out, and it's
Right.
like, I
Right.
know it's a lot to resell it, but I don't know. What do you do? Hey, can I have that stuff? Or do we start up a business, 1-800 pickers junk or 1-800 got
No,
pickers junk? I don't know.
yeah, it's tough to do with people that have passed away because then you're dealing with like the grieving family and
Yeah.
then they have stories to tell about every single item. So there's definitely some sensitivity there. And
Yeah.
so I mean that's just like an estate sale business essentially is what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
I'm just talking about like I'm just trying to help out, not even trying to make money on it, just trying to make sure that
Mhm.
it doesn't get thrown away or wasted. And I don't know, man. Some people just have a hard time parting with things or letting
Yeah.
somebody else kind of objectively look at things. And so I don't know. Or
Yeah.
again, maybe it's just my personality. I'm coming on too strong. Like I want that stuff. They think I'm just gonna try to make some cash on it when I have honorable intentions. I don't know.
That's
So
funny. I was spending some time at my mom's house right before this last trip that we went on together, and I was in her house, and she's a knickknack collector, right? Everything is knickknack all over her house.
mhm.
So I'm walking around her house and I'm looking at all this stuff. She's got a lot of vintage stuff, and I'm like, oh, I could sell that. I could sell that. I could sell that. And it's in my brain now. I'm just wired that way. I'm constantly thinking about it. But then we're sitting around one night just chatting, and she goes, my sister has been putting stuff on the kitchen table, and the kids would come over, and she's kind of like getting rid of all of her stuff while she's still alive instead of doing
Right.
it when she dies.
Right.
And my mom was like, if there is anything in this house that you guys want, just ask me and I'll probably give it to you. And I'm like, well, I could resell a lot of this stuff. And she's like, no, it has to be something that's sentimental value. You can't You can't have something that you're gonna resell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny. Yeah, because some people really are sentimental about their stuff, and
Yeah. And that's what she was
I'm
talking
not.
about, like stuff of
Yeah,
my dad's, maybe that she still
yeah,
has that I might want, or
right.
stuff that reminds me of her, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
But
that's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
It's good to keep some of that stuff too, I suppose, just for fond memories or nostalgia. But that's not what we're talking about. That's
Hmm.
not what the show's about. This is not a nostalgia podcast. This is Pickers podcast. This
Speakers
is
podcast.
get rid of
Hey,
that nostalgia.
when you go into a house, I don't know if I've asked you this question before, but when you go into a house, like saying it's an estate sale, do you are you looking at the stuff and kind of wondering about what the person's life was like, or are you able to just disconnect from the emotional part of it and you're just there to look
Mm.
for stuff?
No, I don't think that at all because it doesn't look like what their life's like, right? Like everything's reorganized and moved
It is.
around and reboxed and packaged. So it doesn't, I don't think it replicates it at all. The closest thing would be where I came in on like a teacher's like retirement resale. And I think they did like a lot of homeschooling, or they might have even sold some of the stuff. So they had just millions of just, like supplies essentially, some of them new
Mhm.
in the box. And then I was just like, I don't want any of this. I
Mhm.
want to get out of here. And
Yeah.
so that's an interesting question. I think that, yeah, I don't, it's hard to know because it's already been picked over a lot of times. So I don't know. That's a good question. Do you think about that?
Yeah, all the time. I have a hard
Okay.
time disassociating myself with it because you can see patterns like the genres of books that they have, or if you pick up a snow globe that says New York 1980, you're like,
Mm,
Was this a family trip? Did he get this for his grandson or for his kids? Or, what was he thinking when he bought this? Or, looking at
oh, I
pictures
see.
and be like, oh, I wonder what he found interesting about this picture, or just all of their stuff. It's like
Yeah.
so hard for me to disconnect when I walk in that front door from that being an actual person's house in life. You know what I
I
mean?
can do that at garage sales where I'm just like, oh, I can tell this person was into backpacking, or this person
Yeah.
was into backpacking 30 years ago, or
Hmm.
they're into photography or podcasting. Even I've come across some podcasters or people that have, just like, how there's just certain things
Yeah.
where you're gonna see it and you know what that item is, but most people aren't gonna know what it is. So then
Hmm.
that's a built-in conversation. I know exactly what you have there. Most people don't. Let's talk about this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, that's an interesting question. Mike, man,
you
I
bet.
appreciate telling your story though. So we'll keep updating that and find out if this is worth it or not. What did the rest of you think? Please comment below. Would you have paid $1,000 plus the moving and the time it takes to move it to buy all that Tupperware? No,
Exactly.
if you were like an expert in Tupperware, we can't take that away from Mike.
Mhm.
And so, but you got trivia for this episode, yeah?
I do. I got some
Okay,
trivia. So
what you got?
I've got Tupperware trivia for you, Carl. Are you ready for the Tupperware trivia?
Probably not. I don't know anything about Tupperware, but go ahead.
Oh, come on. I think you're gonna be able to do okay with this.
All right.
All right, number one. Tupperware containers are known for their unique blank. So this is a fill in the blank. Tupperware containers are known for their unique blank seal mechanism.
Like lid seal mechanism?
Yeah, the seal consists of a flexible lid with a central button that, when pressed, releases air from the container. But
Okay.
what is that button called? It's a specific term.
I have no idea.
It's
I've
unique for their burping seal. The
Oh, the burping
burping
seal, of
seal.
course. Would you
Yes.
believe I've never heard of that ever in my life?
I don't. How do you have Tupperware? How did you grow up in a house with Tupperware at all?
Probably. I don't
Okay.
know.
You never pressed the button in the middle and heard it go bloop
I
bloop
guess
bloop bloop.
not then. Maybe I didn't have
Okay.
that.
All right.
All right,
All
go
right.
ahead.
So you failed that one. All right. This one, number two. I'm going to be asking for something specific. Tupperware containers were used to store moon rock samples collected during what Apollo mission? So it's obviously one of the missions that went to the moon.
Hmm. Like the one,
Pro-
wait, is that the one where they did the fake moon landing and they just grabbed it from Area 51? So they grabbed rocks from Area 51, the Nevada desert. Is that correct?
yes, out in the desert. They're actually desert rocks. They're not moon rocks.
Where they're manufactured by some sort of scientist who crushed a bunch of different minerals together.
Exactly.
Are you
Exactly.
is the moon landing fake, Mike? What do you think?
No, the moon landing is not fake.
Okay, it's real.
There's just way too much evidence to suggest that it wasn't faked.
Okay, how do you explain the weird footage they got with like the
Or
flag
that we haven't went
waving?
back in 50 years or 60 years, whatever it
Yeah,
is, since we
yeah.
were there.
I'm
That
not
is
a
what.
I'm not a hoaxer, a hoaxist or whatever, conspiracy theorist for the moon
Mhm.
landing. I find it interesting though.
Yep.
So yeah.
Well, we can all know that Tupperware went to the moon because they brought a moon rock back in one of these Tupperware containers.
Okay. I don't know what the question was anymore, but I don't know the answer. What's the answer?
What Apollo mission was it? It was
Oh,
Apollo
Apollo
11.
13.
Apollo 11 brought back
Okay.
the rocks.
Tom Hanks brought it back, even though they didn't land on the moon. Okay.
No, they never went. They went all the way around, Carl.
Okay.
Come on. You even knew that in the movie.
Okay. What's your
Aren't you
last
a school
question?
teacher? Aren't you a school teacher? You're gonna
Yeah,
teach
school
me
teachers know everything, literally everything. How dare I
everything.
not know that?
I know. You don't know what Apollo mission this was. All right. So just you need to get this one right just to make me feel better about yourself.
Okay. What you got?
All right. True or false? Tupperware was invented by Earl Tupper in the 1940s. He developed a method of molding polyethylene, poly,
Your
a
credibility
plastic
is dropping.
a plastic into lightweight airtight containers that would keep food fresh for long periods.
True.
Ding, ding, ding. Finally,
Okay.
you got one right. Yes, true.
I'm just
Tupperware was
guessing.
invented by Earl Tupper.
Tupper. I love when they name it after themselves. You know, when you
I
name
know.
stuff after
I
yourself.
didn't believe that when I first read it, when I was looking up these facts for the trivia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
All
Pretty
right.
cool
Well, thanks for the
stuff.
trivia. I failed, but that's okay because you're the Tupperware guy, not me. So,
I mean,
um,
those were some low hanging softballs, man. They
yeah, for
weren't
people
that
that
difficult.
know something about Tupperware, I agree. I don't know stuff about Tupperware,
Yeah,
but
Apollo 11. I mean, you guessed Apollo 13. They never even touched down on the moon. Come on.
I was just being ridiculous. But sure.
Yeah, you were.
All right. Well, folks, it's fine. It's time to find your own treasures, one story at a time.
And remember, it's not reselling unless you're reselling Tupperware.